I'm Manuel Hernandez and welcome to Norwich City Central.
Well, there we go. That's the end of pre-season, and it's been a memorable pre-season. Of course, fans returning to the stadiums, COVID crisis for Norwich in many ways, and now the main point and the main thing is to say, let the real games begin. Hello, everybody. Lewis, Norwich City Central. Hope you're all doing well. I'll be going through the pre-season game, of course, ending Newcastle 3, Norwich 0. Not the best way to end pre-season, as well as some other transfer news as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. A week to go. Are Norwich ready to the Premier League? What business do they need to do? And probably more importantly, we all get caught up in the transfer news, and that's all really important. But what does Saga need to do differently this time around? Of course, we were a completely different team in the Championship 2 years ago. Defensively, we were so much better, building from the back more, and being a lot more professional and disciplined. And I'm sure we're going to see a Norwich City team in the Premier League that is more disciplined as well. You'd hope so after learning from the mistakes from 2 years ago. But yeah, this pre-season game was an interesting one. Two notable things kind of to take from it is the COVID kind of crisis, and of course we've seen a lot of matches disrupted. We was going to play Sheffield United away, which was disrupted. And one other game as well, and there was lots of players who were out. Timo Pukki returned back to the bench and came on for the last 30 minutes in Norwich's last pre-season game. But Rashika, who hasn't really had too many minutes in pre-season, was out from COVID. A couple of the wingers, Poeta, Ono Hernandez, and of course Grant Hanley as well, captain. He hasn't had a single minute in pre-season, and when you haven't had any minutes in pre-season and you're coming up against Liverpool in a week's time, that is a slight worry. And I've watched here little bits from Liverpool, and they do look ready. So yeah, not the best pre-season for Norwich in terms of a build-up with COVID and injuries, and that'll be an interesting one. And another interesting observation from this game as well is played three at the back. Zimmerman, Omabamidele and Gibson were all at the back. So Max Aarons and Janulis were providing the width. Lucas Rupp, who was getting forward quite a lot in this game, was alongside Gilmore, and I think we had Dow, Pierre-Lise Malou and Adamida up front. So yeah, back five, that was really interesting. And is that something Daniel Farke is going to implement into the Premier League this time around? It could help a slightly more defensive foundation. I think a back five would help us, and I feel like Daniel Farke wants to play with a back five and play the 3-5-2. But he won't have the players for it. I mean, we saw throughout this whole transfer window, and you guys watching all my videos will know my thoughts on this. The number one position, in my opinion, we've needed to sign is a centre-back, and we haven't got a centre-back, which is absolutely ridiculous. I think obviously the striker, a lot of fans want, which I get is really important, and some more attacking players as well. But I think it's criminal that if we don't sign a centre-back. The transfer business we've done has been really good so far, but we need a good centre-back. We had 4 centre-backs in the Premier League last season. Tim Closer was completely off the sorts, being one of them, and had a long injury as well. And we were really, really stuffed in terms of injuries there. And we got away with it in the Championship last season, which was great. But yeah, going into a Premier League season with 4 centre-backs, with one of them being Omabamidele, who is brilliant, but he's really young. You shouldn't put kind of that much pressure on his shoulders when he's only played seven proper senior games. And although he's been good, going in the Championship when you're winning every week and not doing much defending is going to be completely different when you've got Mo Salah running in behind you. And Christoph Zimmerman as well, who's don't get me wrong, is good, but maybe should be more of a backup. So for me, I think this Newcastle game highlighted the real need to play and to sign a centre-back of real quality who's going to push Gibson and Hanley, in particular, if we're going to play the 3 at the back system. The game against Newcastle wasn't pretty. It wasn't great. And, with Rashika out, Pukki, who didn't start because of COVID, it really showed the kind of lack of attacking quality we've got in our ranks at the moment. Now, of course, COVID's going to pass and all the players should be available for the Liverpool game, but without pre-season, that's going to be slightly difficult. And yeah, we only had Dow and Adamida as our kind of attacking players, which is a slight worry, and that kind of shows the kind of need Norwich need to get at least one other attacking player who can play in one of those kind of 3 attacking roles, and someone who can probably play as a striker as well. And obviously there's 2 bits of news coming out. The main one, which I'm absolutely delighted about, is Todd Cantwell, who looks like he's going to be staying at Norwich. Aston Villa are not going to put a bid in for him, and that's one which is, that's been a news article which has been doing the rounds for the whole week, and you can understand why. Villa lose Jack Grealish to Man City, and of course, they're not going to sign Lionel Messi, so they're going to need to sign someone who's more in their price range, and they've got a lot of money to play with. Todd Cantwell is looking like the ideal replacement, but it came out from the CEO and obviously Michael Bailey, who kind of broke the news that Todd Cantwell's not going to be going to Aston Villa, which is absolutely huge. And as you can see by the performance and the result today, it highlights the real need to have some attacking quality in there, because yet again, another really important thing to mention is Norwich City were, despite coming into the Premier League 2 years ago with all that attacking, all those goals we scored and all that attacking pretty play, in the second half of the season we hardly scored any goals. I think no Premier League team had scored fewer away goals. I think we only scored about 6 or 7 away goals. So yeah, you need some attacking quality in there, and Todd is someone who is no Emi Buendia, but he's certainly a beautiful footballer who plays really, really good, progressing between the lines, likes to turn with it. And yeah, Todd's going to be important for next season, and it's important we keep him, and that's paramount for me. But yeah, this game against Newcastle, it wasn't pretty, and of course you can't take too much from a pre-season friendly, but it did really highlight the need and highlight the gulf in quality. I think Newcastle are going to be a team who are gonna finish. They're not going to finish in the top half, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're in a relegation battle. And look, it's a pre-season friendly, but it really does highlight the gulf in quality between the Championship and the Premier League. And it was 0-0 at half time. As you said, not too much attacking quality. It's vital we keep Todd Cantwell, and vital some of our attacking players come good. Really excited to see Rashika, and really excited, fingers crossed, Christos Ulis signs. And of course, there's a really good chance we are going to be signing a new striker for £8 million in Josh Sargent, who I will be doing a video about more in depth. So subscribe to Norwich City Central if you're new. But yeah, not a lot of attacking quality, and defensively, the back three system worked okay at times. Omobamidele putting a few good blocks, but Newcastle in the second half were too strong for Norwich. Matt Ritchie opening the scoreline in the 55th minute, and then 2 goals by Dwight Gale, and that name is someone who just constantly seems to do the rounds. Dwight Gale never really seems to have a good Premier League season, but yeah, he always seems to have a good record against Norwich. He's someone who Norwich has been linked with in so many occasions, and yeah, gets a brace. So yeah, it's a really tough one, this, and it's really tough to know what Norwich are going to do. And it's not been the greatest pre-season in that respect, with injuries, with COVID. And it's going to be a really interesting decision for Farke. Is he going to play a back three going into the season? Is he going to play a more counter-attacking style of play? Try and build up from the back, but focus more on counter-attacks. I feel like that's probably more likely. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting this season. And I hope you guys subscribe. I hope you guys stay along for the journey, because it's going to be a brilliant season. And yeah, this time next week, Liverpool at home, there's going to be a match day experience, and that's really going to be beautiful. Of course, Norwich are going to be desperate to survive in the Premier League, but just for this first game, seeing the fans back, having an on-the-ball City at Carrow Road, it's going to be a great feeling. But let me know your thoughts on Norwich's pre-season and what they need to do to help themselves survive in the Premier League. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to Norwich City Central, and I'll see you later.